A healthy marriage is not the fusion of two incomplete halves seeking completion in each other. It is the sacred union of two whole individuals, each having embarked on their own journey of self-discovery and individuation. In Jungian terms, individuation is the process by which a person integrates the conscious and unconscious parts of the psyche to achieve self-realization. Only when both partners have engaged in this inner work can they come together in a relationship that is not based on projection or dependency, but on mutual respect and growth. Jung emphasized that love is not about merging into one indistinct entity, but about two souls standing side by side, each maintaining their individuality while supporting the other's development. This concept is reflected in the idea of the conjunctio, an alchemical term Jung used to describe the union of opposites. In the context of marriage, it symbolizes the coming together of two differentiated selves to create a dynamic and evolving partnership. Therefore, a healthy marriage is not a static state of harmony, but a dynamic process of mutual individuation. It requires ongoing self-reflection, communication, and a commitment to personal and relational growth. By honoring each other's individuality and supporting each other's journey toward wholeness, partners can create a marriage that is both deeply connected and profoundly liberating. It is profoundly liberating because there is no fear of loss when both partners stand rooted in their own inner ground. There is no desperation for approval when self-worth is no longer outsourced. There's no need to control, manipulate, or perform when both individuals know who they are beyond the roles they play. A marriage built on wholeness does not fear the shadow. It welcomes it. It does not deny the unconscious, it dances with it. Because real intimacy begins the moment you stop hiding what you've been taught to suppress. It begins when both partners say, I will not abandon myself to keep this marriage alive. I will bring my full self into it, or not at all. This kind of love is not based on fusion. It's based on freedom, not codependence, but co-creation. Two sovereign beings, two inner tempers, two flames burning brightly beside each other, not melting into one, but igniting something greater together. And yet, this is not romantic fantasy. It's not poetic idealism. It's work. The work of unlearning inherited patterns, of confronting the projections you cast on your partner, of standing still when every trauma inside you wants to run or react. Because a healthy marriage, in Jungian terms, is a crucible, a container for transformation, where your partner becomes not your savior, but your mirror. And in that mirror, you will see all the parts of yourself you once exiled, your wounds, your rage, your longing, your inner child still begging to be chosen. Marriage does not erase these things. It exposes them, not to break you, but to give you the opportunity to integrate. That's what love does when it is real. It does not flatter the ego. It challenges the soul. And when both partners rise to that challenge, when both agree to sit in the fire of truth, when both agree to hold space for each other's darkness as well as light, then and only then does the relationship become a sacred container for evolution. Not just a life shared, but a journey unfolded. Not just a union of hearts, but a union of wholeness. And that is the only kind of marriage that lasts not just in time, but in truth. Because when truth becomes the foundation, not comfort, when wholeness replaces performance, when presence overtakes pretense, you are no longer clinging to each other out of fear. You are choosing each other every day from a place of strength. In a marriage between two whole people, love does not mean losing yourself. It means finding deeper versions of yourself through the reflection of the one who stands before you, not as a rescuer, not as a possessor, but as a mirror that refuses to let you forget who you are. This is the sacred alchemy. Carl Jung understood that the marriage of opposites, of masculine and feminine, light and shadow, was not just a psychological metaphor. It was the map to the soul's return to itself. And in the sacred space of such a marriage, there are no illusions of perfection. There is only the daily practice of love as truth, the willingness to say, I am still healing, and I will not use that as an excuse to harm you. I am still afraid, but I will stay here, open, even when it hurts. I am still learning, and I will not run from what that learning reveals. In this space, love becomes the greatest teacher. It teaches you where you're still hiding. It teaches you what still triggers you. It teaches you that commitment is not about the absence of conflict, but about the presence of conscious repair. There are no saints in this marriage, only students, only souls in the laboratory of love, breaking apart inherited blueprints, rewriting patterns passed down through blood, silence, and survival. It's not glamorous, it's not a fairy tale, it's not easy, but it is true. It is real. It is worth everything. Because it doesn't just give you a partner, it gives you yourself. Over and over again. Rising through the pain, softening through the resistance, choosing to stay not out of fear, but out of freedom. This is the marriage the world doesn't teach us to prepare for. Because it asks for too much truth, too much presence, too much power. But you were never meant for the shallow end of love. You were built for depth, for devotion, for a bond that does not imprison but awakens. And once you taste that, once you've stood in the temple of a union, built by two whole hearts, two sovereign souls, two people who no longer need each other, but want each other with eyes wide open, there is no going back. Not to begging, not to performing, not to playing roles just to be kept, because now you know. A healthy marriage isn't about who completes you. It's about who reflects the completeness you finally claimed within yourself. And that reflection isn't always pretty. It isn't always poetic, but it's always precise, because the partner who stands before you in a conscious marriage will not allow you to hide in your wounds. They will not stroke your ego to keep the peace. They will not shrink themselves to make room for your denial. They will stand rooted in truth, anchored in love, unguarded in their gaze. And in that gaze, you will see yourself more clearly than you ever have before. Not the self you perform for the world, but the self you meet in the mirror when no one else is watching. That's what a healthy marriage does. It reveals you to you. And yes, it will bring up everything. Your insecurities, your survival strategies, your unconscious projections, the stories your nervous system inherited, the stories your inner child still clings to. But it will also bring up your power, your tenderness, your depth, your capacity to choose love over fear again and again and again. Not because it's easy, but because it's real. This is not about staying together out of duty or guilt or tradition. It's not about checking boxes, raising children, dying next to someone you never truly knew. It's about evolving together, not just surviving the years, but transcending them. Not just building a life, but building soul architecture, where every conversation is an act of communion, where every conflict is a doorway to intimacy, where every moment of doubt is met with truth, not avoidance. Because now, you are not afraid of the dark. You have walked through your own, and you will walk through theirs, not to fix them, but to hold space for who they're becoming. That's the gift of a marriage between two whole people. You are no longer building from a place of lack. You are building from a place of overflow. You don't need each other to be okay. You choose each other because you already are. And in that choosing, you create a love that doesn't just survive the chaos of the world, but stands as a sanctuary within it, a lighthouse, a revolution, a testament to what's possible when two people stop seeking to be saved and start showing up as wholehearted warriors of truth. That is not just marriage. That is the marriage your soul came here to remember. Because your soul didn't come here to settle for comfort dressed as connection. It didn't come here to play house in the ruins of unspoken resentment. It came here to burn to be made holy through the fire of sacred union. To meet another, not as a half, but as a whole. To build a love that is not held together by dependency, but by devotion. And devotion is not passive. It is not gentle avoidance wrapped in nice words. It is fierce. It is present. It is rooted in the sacred promise. I will meet you fully, and I will not run when you reveal the parts of you you've been taught to hide. A healthy marriage between two whole people becomes the temple where the masks fall, where the unconscious becomes conscious, where the inner child is not shamed but held, where the wounds are not hidden but healed, not by magic, not by chance, but by the daily moment-to-moment decision to see each other as you are and still say yes. That yes is the most powerful vow of all. Not just the one spoken on a wedding day, but the one spoken in silence, in the quiet hours of discomfort, when it would be easier to disconnect. That yes is forged in the friction of transformation. It's born in the nights where pain is louder than passion. It's honored in the mornings where you choose presence over pride. It's what makes marriage not just a contract, but a container for the sacred unfolding of two souls. And once you've known that, once you've tasted a love that doesn't flatter your ego but awakens your truth, you will never again settle for anything less than wholeness meeting wholeness. You will no longer trade depth for familiarity. You will no longer confuse comfort with compatibility. You will no longer perform a version of love that demands you erase yourself. Because now you know, a healthy marriage is not about staying. It's about growing together, becoming mirrors and anchors, holding the line when life shakes you, and holding each other without fear of being too much or not enough. This love, this conscious, wholehearted, fully embodied love, isn't rare because it's impossible. It's rare because few are willing to do the work to become the kind of person who can hold it. But you are willing. You're no longer chasing a partner to complete you. You're becoming someone who no longer needs completion to feel worthy. And when that kind of soul meets another, not in desperation, not in longing, but in truth, they don't just build a marriage. They build a legacy not written in property deeds or family names, but in the invisible architecture of two souls who chose to rise together, not above each other, not at the expense of one another, but beside each other, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart. This legacy echoes in the lives they touch, in the children they raise, not as extensions of ego, but as mirrors of truth, of freedom, of possibility. Children who learn by watching, not just how love is spoken, but how it is lived, with courage, with humility, with presence. It echoes in the silence between arguments. The silence that doesn't feel like a wall, but like a pause, a breath, a moment of grace where Understanding waits to be chosen over reaction. It echoes in every step they take as individuals who remain devoted to their own growth, and in doing so, never stop bringing something new to the union. Because a healthy marriage is not where growth ends. It's where growth is accelerated. It's where the soul is no longer distracted by the hunger for validation and becomes fully available for evolution. This is the kind of love that doesn't fade with time. It intensifies. Because time isn't the enemy of this love. It is its ally. Every year, every hardship, every lesson, every joy is another layer of intimacy, another layer of knowing, another layer of becoming. And one day, when their hair is gray and their skin bears the soft signatures of time, they will look at each other, not with the desperate spark of first love, but with the calm, fierce glow of two souls who have walked the labyrinth together and emerged still choosing, still growing, still in awe of who the other has become. Because when love is built on wholeness, you don't fall out of it. You rise deeper into it. You don't need to be the same person who said, I do. You just need to keep saying, I will. I will meet you. I will face myself. I will hold the line when fear tries to pull me away. I will not forget who I am. And I will not let you forget who you are either. And in the end, that's all a marriage ever needed to be. A sacred agreement between two evolving souls. To keep walking, to keep remembering, to keep loving each other into the highest version of themselves. Not by losing who they are, but by becoming more of it together. Together. Because the journey of becoming never ends. Not when it's real. Not when it's rooted in soul rather than survival. A healthy marriage built between two whole people doesn't plateau into boredom. It deepens into discovery. Discovery of each other's evolution. Discovery of new desires, new dreams, new depths of understanding. Because when two people are committed to becoming, there is always more to learn, always more to hold, always more to witness. And in that witnessing, a new kind of safety is born. Not safety in predictability, but safety in presence. The kind of presence that says, change all you need to, grow in every direction you must. I will not resist your becoming. I will stand beside it fiercely. Because that's what real love is. It's not a fixed identity, locked in vows and routines. It's a living, breathing entity, born and reborn through truth, through trust, through every brave moment of honesty. A marriage built like this is not afraid of change. It honors change. It welcomes change because it knows the real threat isn't growth. It's stagnation. It's denial. It's pretending you're still the people you were 10 years ago. You're not. You've shed skins. You've buried illusions. You've emerged again and again, not despite each other, but because you gave each other the room to become. And now, when the world grows louder, when distractions threaten devotion, when storms rise, as they always do, you don't flinch, because you are not bound by fear. You are bound by truth. And truth does not break, it bends, it breathes, it burns what is false, so what is real can remain. This is your sacred fire. This is your mirror. This is your soul's greatest ally, disguised as the person who sees you in every shade of your being and never once asks you to be less. So when they ask, what is a healthy marriage? What do you say? You say this. It is not two halves becoming one. It is two wholes walking side by side, not in front, not behind, together, undefended, unmasked, unapologetically whole, and unbreakably committed to becoming everything they were always meant to be. Everything they were meant to be. Not by completing each other, but by challenging each other, expanding each other, refining each other in the crucible of conscious love. Because in this kind of marriage, love is not a hiding place. It's not an escape from the world's wounds. It is the forge where your illusions are burned away and your essence, your truth is revealed. No more facades, no more roles, no more pretending to be what you think your partner wants, because now the only thing that's wanted is realness. The kind of real that trembles with vulnerability and stands tall in integrity. The kind of real that doesn't flinch when pain shows up at the door. The kind of real that stays through the chaos not to fix it, but to feel it. That's the marriage of the awakened soul. It's raw, it's rare, it's holy, and it doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't exist for validation. It exists because two people have decided that no part of themselves will remain unloved, no truth will remain unspoken, and no growth will be left undone. This isn't the love that fades. This is the love that transforms. It ages like wisdom, not wine. It ripens into a depth that young lovers cannot fathom, because this love is earned every day. In every moment you choose to stay soft when your old self wants to armor up. In every moment you lean in when it would be easier to shut down. In every breath where you say, I see you, and mean all of it. Not just the parts that are easy to love. That's what the marriage of two whole people becomes. A sanctuary, a revolution, a temple, not of perfection, but of truth. So if you're asking what to build your love upon, don't start with chemistry. Don't start with fantasy. Don't start with surface level compatibility. Start with wholeness. Start with the radical, brutal, beautiful truth of who you are. And find someone who has met themselves the same way, naked, unpolished, sacred. And when you do, you won't just build a healthy marriage. You will become a force of love this world has forgotten is possible. So now, a healthy marriage isn't something you fall into. It's something you build brick by brick, truth by truth, choice by sacred choice. Not with fantasies, not with fairy tales, but with fire, with presence, with two souls who have faced their own shadows and returned whole. Because when two whole people choose each other, there is no more performing. There is only becoming together, fully, unapologetically. And when the storms come, because they do not break you, they refine you. They cleanse the love that no longer serves. So the real love, the devotional, truth-rooted, individuated love can rise. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of everything sacred. Because when you stop searching for someone to save you and start becoming someone who refuses to abandon themselves again, that's when love finds you. Real love, soul love, the kind that doesn't complete you, but reflects the wholeness you fought so long to remember.